Back with you on Hitting Hard with John Chuckery as we are on this Monday morning talking some Hawks basketball with you. We're going to hit on the two things I think that could definitely hold the Hawks back if you're talking about them making another long extended run in the Eastern Conference playoffs. But first, I want to tell you about my friends over at Built Bar. And look, now that you see me on camera, I got to get myself back in shape, got my Macho Man shirt on, ready to roll. I got to get this thing going, man. I got to get cranked back up, get back into my swelter self and get back into my Georgia rattlesnake kind of mode and things like that. Built Bar is helping with that. Look, I know a lot of you have given up your New Year's resolutions and getting in shape and this, that, and the other, and you're back to maybe not eating so good and things like that. Well, I want you to I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to Built Bar. I want you to go to built.com. Built.com is the website. Built Bar is the product. I want you to try, for instance, the puffs that they got. So if you're one of those people that likes a snack and you're one of those people that likes a sweet and things like that, I want you to go onto built.com and I want you to order some of the puffs out there. What they are is it's the first ever protein infused marshmallow. So fluffy, marshmallowy. They're not really like a protein bar. They're more like a treat, and they're covered in 100% chocolate. So when you talk about trying to crave that sweet tooth or this, that, and the other, this is a great way to do it. And they've got lots of great flavors. They got the cinnamon churro. They got the coconut marshmallow. They got the banana cream pie, all kinds of different flavors over at built.com. And with 100% real chocolate covering, they're still low calorie, high protein. So for instance, if you look at like a regular candy bar, 240 calories, 30 plus grams of sugars, all kinds of net carbs. Nobody wants all that, right? And nobody's going to tell you that any candy bar is any, good for your health or anything like that. But with these particular bars and puffs, for instance, take the puffs, 130 calories, just 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, but 17 grams of protein to go into it. So look, you can't beat how good these things are. And you can check out the whole line of bars that they've got at built.com, the mint brownie, the coconut almond. For this month, they've got the white chocolate cookies and cream. So if you're into the cookies and cream thing, you want that Oreo kind of flavor, what have you, this is going to be the perfect supplement to all of this. And there's always new flavors coming out. So go to built.com, check out what they have there. And let me give you a little pro tip, okay? If you go to built.com and you use the promo code LOCKED15, you get 15% off your order. Again, let me repeat that, okay? For all you ham and eggers out there. Use the promo code LOCKED15, go to built.com, and you'll get 15% off of your order at the website. Hard to beat, right? So go to built.com today. All right, back here on Hitting Hard with John Chuckery as we continue to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. There are two things, in my opinion, that really could slow down and keep the Hawks from making the kind of extended run that I think they're more than capable of making in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I think the first thing for the Hawks is injuries. Right now, the Hawks are still playing shorthanded where their quote unquote second best player, at least the guy who got paid to be the second best player, isn't even on the court. And he's missed a whole bunch of time right now. And we've seen this team get into these phases of nagging injuries, little dinks here, dunk here, dippity do here, and all this kind of stuff. Gallinari's out for a couple of games. Hunter's out for a little bit. Bogey's out. Herter, Capella. They always get these guys nicked and dinged and chinged and, flinged up and all this kind of stuff. So injuries definitely for this team, which has been one of the storylines all year. And not just the COVID, COVID's a whole separate thing, and we're past all of that, and everybody had COVID, and we're all good to go. Even Kyrie Irving is past the whole COVID thing. But definitely the injury factor. If John Collins, for instance, can't come back healthy and effective, it's going to be hard for the Hawks to try to make a really deep run. And not because I don't want to say John Collins is a star or anything like that for the Atlanta Hawks, but he is an important component about what they do. And when the game crunches down in the playoffs and you get more into half court sets and things like that, and teams tighten up and defenses tighten up and all these kinds of things, you need all of your best players out there, and you need a guy in John Collins who, look, let's face it, while he's not necessarily going to create a lot of his own shots, you get him involved with Trey, you get him down low, you let him do his thing. And certainly when rebounding and defense and things like that are coming along, another guy who's a potential double figure rebounder. So injuries to me are one of the biggest things that really could slow down the Atlanta Hawks. It's one of those things that I know you can't prep for it, you can't prepare for it, but right now the Hawks have got to get themselves healthy. And if that means John Collins doesn't play the rest of the regular season, fine. I couldn't care less. If you have to rest a guy here, rest a guy there for fatigue or whatever, and you're worried about more things going on, rest them. I mean, obviously the one guy they really can't afford to rest is Trey Young, unless they lock something up and, the final game of the year, he doesn't need to play. But otherwise, health is going to be a big factor in the Hawks' success. Second thing, and this has been a bugaboo all year long for the Atlanta Hawks, is their defensive effort. Right now they're playing just good enough defense because their offense, by and large, is so efficient. Even when they're scoring a whole bunch of points, against the Brooklyn Nets or the Indiana Pacers or what have you, they're giving up a lot to go along with it. They gave up 117 points to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, the good news is they scored 122, but you've given up, lots of points against teams like Indiana who have no business scoring. Defense has been an issue all year long with this team. And I've been very frustrated about the idea of, I hear Nate McMillan and Trey Young and Clint Capella, and they all talk about effort on defense. Okay, well, if that's true, then either your head coach has to find a way to motivate you guys to get effort, or your head coach has to control and monitor the minutes that these guys play to make sure that you're putting the guys out there that are going to give you maximum effort. So we're at a point now where I don't want to hear about effort and I don't want to hear about all these kinds of things. Season's got only a few more games left. You got 4 regular season games left, and then we get a few days off, and then you get into play-in rounds and all that good kind of stuff. But defensively, it becomes so important in the NBA playoffs. The game scrunches and crunches down. Half-court sets. You're not out running and gunning. You're not out trying to just outpoint everybody. And let's face it, the competition level in the playoffs is much greater. It's not Indiana on a Wednesday night. It's not Oklahoma City on a Tuesday night. You're not getting the jabrones where you can find a way to get yourself healthy. You've got all the best teams in the NBA. And right now, there are so many teams that are just sort of logjam with one another that a lot of these teams just don't have a clear identity. Milwaukee's identity is because they won the NBA championship last year. So they've got some of that identity already amongst them. But otherwise, everybody else, is Miami the best team in the East? I don't know. They've got the best record, but I don't know if they're the best team. Is Philadelphia just sort of middling and hanging around and not that good? Yeah, maybe. But then again, they get James Harden and Joel Embiid to play well. They could beat anybody in the NBA, right? So defensively, the Hawks are going to have to get some things figured out. It's been a point of emphasis all year. I don't know how much that's going to change, but when you get into this playoff run and you start to play more teams that are loaded up with superstars, it's Harden and Embiid, it's Middleton and Giannis, right? I mean, it's all these teams that have all these guys on them that you better find a way to get that effort. And again, that's why you need John Collins back. I'm not saying he's a great defensive player, but certainly he helps and fixes part of all of this. And he's one of the reasons why that they need him back is this game is going to scrunch down. And I hope that the Hawks can find some defensive effort, but that's the one part of the on-court stuff that scares me about what the Atlanta Hawks are going to be coming up in the playoffs. All right, when we come back, WrestleMania. Whew. Man, this was quite a spectacle over these 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday in Dallas. We're going to recap all of that when we get back. It's Hitting Hard with John Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.